Hello friends, today I would like to show you a long and detailed video of one of the ways how small farmer can make a chocolate in tropics. This is cacao plant. I have 4 of them, I think. This is the fruit of cacao from which the chocolate is made. I have 2 cultivars. This one has kind of yellowish fruit when it's ripe, and supposed to have a more fruit on it than this reddish one, which is supposed to be higher quality. Not that I see the difference in yield or quality. Well, anyway, yesterday we visited a small farmer that has not 4 but hundreds of trees of cacao and a processing plant. And this young couple, well, I don't know their age, but if you're almost 80 like me, then most of the people are young to you. Anyway, we visited them and they gave us a very detailed demonstration tour, lecture how to do it. The way I do it is that a friend of mine comes and harvests it and makes a little bit of a chocolate, and he gives me sometimes a little of it, and he actually sweetens it with honey from his own hive. But this couple that I'm gonna show you a long demo video, they have a farm, they have a chocolate farm which is called Last Resort.
Continue up the down a steep downhill, then continue up the steep uphill section. Stay on the concrete driveway as it transitions to dirt. Go through the fence gate, it will be open. You tread slowly and respect the neighbors. After passing through the gate, follow the asphalt driveway until you see a light green house. Light green house on the hill. Take the left-hand paved driveway up the house. Follow HFU signs to guide you along the way.
Hi. All right, good.
Good to see you. Hi.
Hello,
Hi.
I'm coming to Saturday. There you are. And anyway, so it's been always in the background.
How are you?
Good, very good.
See ya.
Long time I didn't saw you. Hello. We almost got lost. Wrong road.
Yeah. It's not easy.
Yeah. But Natalie now finally, in case more people will come, Natalie put signs which way to go.
Take it away.
Awesome. I'm Scott. Olivia is here in the flannel with the red hair. Thank you all for coming. I've been looking forward for this for a long time. This is my dream. Is farming and making good chocolate and being involved in the community and getting people who want to get started. I'm an open book. You can have all the data that I have, and I'll do anything that I can to get you guys up and running and further that. So, you got anything to add?
Yeah, no, we're really excited to have everyone here, and we honestly, Ben and Robin have been a huge contender to us getting going as well, and partners with them. Yeah, just ask as many questions as you guys have. Scott is a wealth of knowledge, and I'll answer what I can. So
I'm an idiot. I came from public safety, so I have nothing to do with farming before doing the research to come here. That was my goal. I wanted to get back after 28 years in the business there. I wanted to put my fingers in the dirt and make something great. And so
in the name.
Yeah, so it's last resort chocolate, and as the name says, we don't need any more resorts on Kauai, but this one, when you're all in and you've spent every dime that you have to have a place and to make good chocolate, you know, it's your last resort. So that's where the name comes in. So couple things for today. We have a 6-acre farm I bought in 18. It was more of a plantation. There were some fruit trees, but most of it was just aesthetically pleasing, all nice manicured lawns. And I messed all that up by putting trees there. So we can walk real quick. It looks like the weather may hold out for a little bit. I have a ferment going from the last harvest that we did. Combined with Ben and Robin, we're at 485 pounds. 485 pounds of wet seed went in on Friday evening. So our first 48 hours of the ferment is anaerobic, and then after that we turn it every 24 hours. So we can showcase that. We'll do a turn for you so you can see how we do things, how we grab our data. And I'm very data centric because I'm an idiot. And the only way I'm going to learn is by having it there in front of me. So that's kind of where I come from. But yeah, we can walk down real quick. Anybody that isn't too fond of walking too far, just let us know and we'll cut it short. But we're just going to walk down a little bit where we came in and then turn around and come back up. And we'll do the ferment, and then we'll end in the laboratory, and then in for food. So ask questions. I really, and I love input too. So, all right.
And just real quick, restroom is also in there where we put all the food. So.
Yep. So this place was owned by a local contractor, and he had his family kind of tucked away in all the little extra buildings, and then from there he got up in age and decided, all right, I've had enough, I'm going to go ahead and everybody can move out and they'll sell it. And I saw it, I've been looking for property, and yeah, fell in love. So it's not your typical Hawaii place, it's more of a compound than anything. One of the fruits, or one of the things we grow here is vanilla, and so we've done a lot with experimenting on where it's going to go and how much a tree or how much a vine can sustain. This one, we've had a really high turnover or a really high turnout this year, and so it's done really well. So we pollinated every flower by hand, just like everybody else does. And yeah, it's done really well. We have 3 grow areas set up. This is one. And then the primary is going to be down in the orchard under a mango tree. And it absolutely loves it under the mango. So, yeah, he's excited about all the people here. Yeah, all the people, he just wants to come out and play. He's only about a year and a half old. One thing that we learned that we're excited about is you saw the black mesh cages. We found that Ben found in the recycling center. Here he comes, folks.
Yeah, the beach plastic recycling center.
Yeah, the beach plastic recycling center has oyster bags.
From the fish farm, no, oyster farm. What's the fish pond down there?
Yep.
In Hawaii?
Yes.
Yeah,
No,
the Kauai coffee. It's basically
Okay,
on the Makai side of Kauai coffee.
Yeah. But they can't recycle the plastic, so it's best to repurpose and reuse it. If you take coconut husks and you stuff them in there, we've had really good success with the roots from the vanilla getting in there and getting a good foothold. Yeah. And so that makes, if you want to fertilize, makes it really easy to get in there and soak the coconut husks with a fertilizer, and then the orchids can pick it up from there. Hey, settle down, you.
Yeah.
We've got bananas down here, mountain apples, kumquats, angelos, sugarcane, monstera, and we start into the cacao orchard. This is Konohiki Stream for those that are kind of local here, and it winds its way through pretty much all the properties down. Its headwaters are back that way off of Waipoli, and this area down here was designed to flood. So in the end of 2018 and the end of 2019, we saw some El Nino rains, and that brings about 2 to 3 feet of water up over the roadway here. So the original contractor did a decent job at flooding this, but in La Nina years like we're experiencing, we see a lot of downturn in rainfall. So you're going to see a couple things with our trees is we haven't had that vigorous growth over the last like year and a half or 2 years. So we have some ambrosia issues, but other than that, it's a little dry at the moment. So we have some mangoes here. They don't produce, but they're great for growing vanilla. So this is going to be our next little install for vanilla. We're going to use those, the bags that we talked about. We're going to repurpose and hang them from the branches here. And we should have pretty good success. The vanilla really likes the mangoes in our little microclimate. Ulu. We've experimented with some of the trees were a lot taller than normal, or that we normally let them get. So we've experimented with some really heavy pruning, and the trees have done really well with it. So the rest of these are going to get pruned shorter to where it would facilitate more use and easier use for harvest. Yeah, it's a bear.
Ulu, for those who don't know Hawaiian names, is breadfruit.
Breadfruit. Right. This is my first orchard that I planted here. Embedded, there were 8 macnut trees, and so they're kind of an older growth, doing well and yielding well. We get 400 to 500 pounds of macnuts a year. This is pretty much the heart of the farm right here. So if you notice, we've let some of the trees go really tall, and what we've seen is we've seen a double horcat, and we've also seen quite a bit of yielding from that second tree. So if your soil will allow it, and we don't do much amendments here, I think we typically only fertilize with an organic fertilizer once a year. So we're going to increase that frequency a little bit based on some recommendations on some consulting, but for the most part we want to be more natural. So we work with worm teas and trying to restore soil health. For data collection, we worked with NERDS, those that are familiar, but it's NRDS, and we have a QR code on a fishing leader on every tree. NERDS is based in Hawaii. The guy that runs it is Sam, and he's fantastic. He will help cater the app to what you want it to look like and what you want to capture. So what we do is Currently we're capturing obviously any pods that are harvested off the trees so we can keep track of the trees and the yields, basically see how the farm's doing. But it also allows us to track things like whether the tree is flowering, whether it has any damage from any of the pests. We reached out to him recently. We had a boar coming in and he was going after the mac nuts. Well, it's not a problem that he's eating the mac nuts. The problem is that he's coming in and he's tusking all of the cacao trees. And then he learned that fruit was tasty, so he came in and he started to really do damage. So we had to find him and eliminate him, and the only way to do that easily, because you know they're nocturnal, was to track the damage on the tree. So we added a field. We went around. Every time we saw pig damage, we would enter it, and we asked Sam. We're like, Sam, can you overlay a hot map, or a heat map? Basically, what that was is, can you overlay a different color dot based on the pest over the farm map in the app? And he's like, yep, sure, no problem. And so we basically had a line of damage that we would be able to normally track through the orchard, set a camera up, found the pig, and of course we eliminated him. So without that, it would have gone probably another 3 or 4 months before I would be able to put eyes on him and get rid of him. So it really is fantastic to be able to track this stuff. So anybody interested, man, I can't recommend him enough. I would not be as far as I am without him. So lots of data, lots of feedback, unlimited things, and I've had nothing but excellent interactions with him. So big plug for nerds. Anything else?
What's Sam's last name?
I can't.
Arooch.
Yeah, Arooch. Yeah. And I will second that. I worked with Sam in a couple of other programs with Kamehameha schools and with the university, and he's been really good.
Yeah.
Very, very willing to adapt things to what you need.
Yep. It won't happen immediately, but it happens. And so he's been just incredible to work with for me. So. We have some old growth light tea here that yields, based on the year, a couple 100 pounds a year. You guys are quiet.
It's beautiful. Thank you for sharing with us. What are these trees right here?
Lychees.
Lychees, okay. And do you have a market for your chocolate yet?
Pardon?
Do you have a market for your chocolate yet?
Online sales is going to be our primary. We don't have a special use permit, so we can't do retail here on site. Still working to finalize everything through the county and get that the production space permitted.
How many acres is this place?
6.
6? Cool.
And are your neighbors supportive, your other surrounding?
In the CPR, they don't mess with me too much, but the neighbors around are. The Zarbas are here. Their goal is to plant about 700 trees, and they've started, and we're working with them to give them as much seed as possible.
Cacao as well?
Cacao as well. And Annie's on the other side of the Zarbas, so she's not far, a couple gates away.
She's pretty supportive.
Pretty supportive. One of the hard lessons that we learned, you can see here is, you know, the growth right here is almost nothing. And as you walk out, you can see you've got these beautiful trees we just walked through, and then it goes down to nothing, and then it comes back. And the reason is ironwood has a phytotoxin in it, and it basically kills the trees. So it's like a Roundup. When I first got here, a lot of this was, you know, pretty much exposed grass. So trying to restore the soil health, I didn't know. So again, hard lesson. So I went ahead and I planted, threw irrigation in, and it's just not enough. You have to be able to restore that soil health. You got to get rid of the ironwood trees, and it'll come back. So we're starting to get more green, less dirt, and so we're going to go ahead and this is our next area to cull and reseed.
The grass is good.
Yeah, the grass is coming back and it's doing well. So
previously it was like all brown?
this was all brown here with a probably a 50-foot ironwood. Yeah. So we cut the ironwood down. You can see it's still sprouting.
That's what I was thinking.
But yeah.
So you're gonna fully take them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then those other ones over there, they got to go as well.
Yeah.
Anything that's downwind from our easterly trades, they were all just they won't grow.
Ironwood would grow from roots, from root
Right.
cuttings.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
So we just have to go through and get them as low as we can, and then once we can get the mower through there, we'll keep them low enough, you know, the sprouts, so we won't have issues. But that was a hard lesson to showcase. So
He's doing absolutely nothing, but we have bought a bunch of ironwood off our property towards the ocean.
Yep.
And we took a walk back there recently, and it's littered with lilikoi.
Wow.
That's the only other thing that's
yeah, so maybe the roots of the lilikoi
somehow find a way.
Somehow find a way, yeah.
Yeah.
The Woodallia will grow in there, but that's about the only thing that we could really get to grow. So it was difficult.
What's a dahlia?
Woodallia is this.
Wheat.
So this is a nitrogen fixer for our soil. So we have it just about everywhere. Yeah. So we can head back up so we don't get caught by any of these heavier showers. But this is the top of the property.
Congratulations on your pregnancy.
What's his name?
Dobby.
They said, and they probably say to lots of people will live with their schedule according to office.
Yeah. Both of my children were 3 weeks earlier. And my first one was totally done at 3 weeks. You know, like she was, you know, all of his markers were
Robin was a teenager. I was.
So we're pretty fortunate. It's starting to rain. Nobody wants to Yes, I was tight. I was tight. They're every 9 feet, so it's only a 3-meter spacing. It's enough to get my mower in between them. The trees, you can for the most part you can get in and prune everything you need, but it would be nicer to have more property and go with a bigger spacing.
My mother was for some time.
Well, once your trees get older, like I have, it might get too crowded.
It might, yeah.
Too crowded.
For sure. So we, you know, this was August of 2019. So those trees are just coming into their being full.
That's interestingly, my vanilla turns into beans without help.
Really?
Yeah, I don't have a lot, but I definitely have beans on my vanilla, and I leave it alone.
I wonder if do you have ants?
Yeah.
That could be. Wonder if the ants are doing the accidental pollinating.
Okay, because I know everybody tells me it can't happen, but I'm like, it can happen. It happens. Not as like one bean. Like 2 beans? I have like maybe about 6 or 7 beans. I don't know. Right now I'm at the fruit forest, I don't know if you remember where there's like that one big original vanilla vine on that river. Yeah. Where we're sitting right now. Yeah. When I was like taking that pole, because it like climbed up to the very top of that reduction, and I was pulling it all down, and there was like maybe 3 that had self-pollinated.
We call this coconut rodeo.
Yeah.
Every night.
I mean,
I love that, don't they?
Yeah.
I'm happy that they're doing it. My yard is a little bit.
They don't knock themselves out sometimes.
It's just still rock.
He once with one.
I just don't have as much for
I wasn't happy.
Yeah. Yeah, the hardier things took over than upright things.
If you never saw a camera with a hat, you can see it now.
She's like the little boy version of your dog. I can just have fun all by myself.
Yep.
Who needs anybody else around?
Yep, that's me.
That little miniature bougainvillea.
Yeah.
That's a bougainvillea, but just a miniature.
Nani, bougainvilleas is easy to root by cuttings. I don't know about the miniature one though.
All right, so this, we wanted everybody to smell it. So this is our ferment. You can smell all the yeast. One thing that we wanted to do here specifically is make sure that we only added the ingredients that we needed to. So construction is 3/4 inch maple, unfinished, so that there's no contaminants. And then there's some drainage holes drained in the bottom, and the dimensions are 20 by 20 by 20. And so each container can hold about a little more than 100 kilos of wet seed. And we do a week-long ferment. First 48 hours is anaerobic, and then it's turned every 24 hours after that. Data collection. When I was trying to figure out what data logger to use, when I started, I put a Davis Instruments weather station in, and from there I was able to look and see, like, okay, this year we got this much rain, this year we got this much rain, and when all that's happened. So I really got excited about that, and so I called them and said, hey, can I use your soil temperature and moisture sensor array to grab the data from my cacao ferment? And the engineer's like, you can do whatever you want, but that's not what it's designed for. And I said, well, is there anything, negative about the sensor array? And they're like, no. So it's a stainless steel temperature probe, and I put 4 of them here. So there's one in the back of the enclosure to just capture the background data, the background ambient temperature. And then there's one placed at 2 inches above, in the middle, and then 2 inches below. And basically, that's how I capture my data. So it's a simple wire that goes into the mass.
So do you leave all the flesh on the seed?
Yep, all the flesh is on the seed. We don't do a wash or anything like that. You can feel this is the, if you want to come up and put your hand on it, you can feel how warm it is. This is the natural way of fermenting. So these are just the naturally occurring yeasts in our little microclimate. And there's a specific way that we know when that happens. And Sarah Barra, who I met at Chocolate Northwest, she turned us on to if you're harvesting mature pods but not ripe pods, you're not getting the same amount of yeast on the outside of the pod. So the key there is to harvest only ripe pods, and you'll notice an uptick in how much yeast is on the surface of that pod. And so by doing that, we're not using any type of inoculant, so no, nothing from any of the other companies. There's no yeast or anything like that added. It is just the yeast that are occurring on the outside of the cacao pod.
What creates the heat?
The reaction that the yeast are, they're just sitting there and they're doing their thing. They're
hot
just
and close together is what creates
hot. Well, the heat is from them chewing on the and digesting the sugars from the pulp.
But no external heat.
No external heat source. So when I talked with Dan O'Doherty, he said, "Don't need it. Mass is the key. So you got to have enough mass." That's where my understanding began. Then we got with Sarah Barra, and she's like, "It's not just mass. You can do lower masses. You just have to have a good inoculation from having those ripe fruit and the yeast in there from your environment." So right now, rainfall doesn't matter. External temperature doesn't matter. And my max temperature, when I start to see yeast die off, is 125 degrees Fahrenheit. And I can show you the graphing on all the data and when we can overlay them and when they peak and everything else. So this is our ferment. Love to share.
That's right.
If anybody is interested, if you're interested in the components that I use, the sliders, the data, how it's captured, what the costs are, you know, just ask. I want to share. So this is what we do.
The yeast on the mature pods is on the outside, right?
Yeah, it's on the outside.
Is that like when you cut them? Is that what's
So
inoculating,
what
or
we do in our harvest is we also try to eliminate any foreign contaminants from them hitting the soil. So what we do is we clip a pod, it goes into a container, we pick the container up and we walk it out of the field.
Right.
So when you clip the pod from the tree and you put it in the container, we bring it up here, we set up here, we crack the pod, just like everybody else will crack a pod. And then what happens is you break that pod open and then you take your hand and you scoop out the inside. And so by touching the outside of the pod, and then with the same, in our case a glove tan because we're after a value-added product, transfer of the yeast into the seed. And so you're almost inoculating every seed or around close to every seed with the naturally occurring yeast on the outside of the pod.
So it's better to have the cracker and the scooper the same person?
The scooper is the key. So the key is that you've got goopy gloved hands that are transferring those yeast. They're picking them up because it's, you know, you got that sticky, from the pod you just did, you've got the sticky substance, you're handling the outside of that pod, and then you're scooping out everything in the inside. And that's where we're getting our yeast from. The other thing you may see is like some of the other people, like Dylan over at Manoa, as you see him harvesting on some of his fields, he'll take some of those pods and he'll throw them in the wheelbarrow. And so, of the wet seed. So you're seeing them drop in some of those pods that are really rich in yeast with that same thing, trying to get more yeast in there to get a better ferment. But this process here has worked really well for us. It's repeatable in any weather condition that we've experienced in the last, well, since 20 when we started, and so fermenting. And so yeah, it's a pretty proven for us. Critiques that we've had are more drainage holes, bigger drainage holes, and then perforations on the side to allow more air in to get more of a shorter ferment, if you will. So higher temperatures, quicker. The goal for us was, well, I think by the state statute on fermented stuff, 110 degrees is what kills the cotyledon. And so if you use the state numbers, you have to be, I think it's 10 to 15 hours above 110 degrees in order for it to be a kill step. Our goal that we shoot for is 72, and I think we always exceed that 72.
And do you put like a mesh on the holes so you don't
Nope.
get rats or bugs?
Nope, we don't typically get rats. You'll see some the larger palmetto style roaches, they just get in and around. Ants don't do anything with it. We don't get any roaches, we don't get any earwigs, we don't have any, and we don't treat for insects around here. So we're just there's nothing there that they want. Yeah.
And how big is your team? Who's the we? How many people?
It's me and the redhead.
Okay. Olivia, just 2 people.
It's just us, yeah. The neighbors will help when they're ready to help, and there's another farm of about 600 trees. Lance, he's over off Waipoli. He usually comes and brings his fruit to us, and he helps us out. So it's just us.
So when you start steering, you just put it on that.
Yeah, so a turn is real simple. We're short on time, so I don't want to get into it, but the goal was to do a turn for you. Basically, we just take and we scoop from here into here, and as we do that, we just allow the seed. We don't just dump the whole clump. We actually sit there and let it pass through our fingers and let the seeds fall individually, picking up as much air on the way through, or being exposed to much air and picking up enough oxygen on the way through as we can. So
24 hours in a turn, and then how many?
the first 48 is anaerobic,
Yeah.
so we don't do anything for 48, and then every 24 hours after that.
And how many days do you do
7.
the aerobic? 7?
Yep. So we can break out the laptop, anybody's interested, and I can show you the curve. But we turn this time on day 6. We get a temperature spike between like midnight and 2 a.m. The temperature climbs up over 120 degrees, usually 118, 120, and then it slowly falls. And as soon as it hits 110 degrees or drops below 110 degrees, we pull it. And it goes on the drying racks, and there's some more over there, and we start our drying process.
And so the flesh ends up being all integrated in the chocolate?
The flesh is going to come off, and that's when the next stop in our little laboratory.
I actually love the flesh. Do you guys ever make juice out of it or anything?
Yes, and I think we have some for everybody to try who's never tried it. So, from the harvest on Friday.
And you guys don't collect any of the liquor or anything, it just runs off?
We do a drain.
Oh.
So one of the keys that we were told initially was make sure that you get as much fluid out of the ferment mass before you start the ferment. So we do a drain off, and that's that value-added product. So in order to eliminate any coccidia or any type of potential fecal matter or anything else getting picked up from our fields and them hitting the ground, what we do is we're going to just put them in the containers, we crack up here, and then we drain all that juice off, and then we install the ferment that night. So.
Is that pretty consistent with the type of same process curve and everything?
I'm following him.
Okay.
I've got one in the it's cooking right now.
Yeah.
It's throw over here, like not going anywhere right now.
Yeah.
But will.
Yeah, I can explain and I can show the graphs on the temperatures if you guys are interested.
So I was just looking at his curve that he was showing me, or your curve. Is that so? The first few days it doesn't actually get up to 110.
No, right now I think we're sitting at like 85.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even until like the 3rd or 4th day of aerobic.
Yeah. Yep. All right, next stop is up here. All right, you don't have to take your shoes off for this, just come on inside.
A bunch of dirty farmers. Serious equipment.
Yeah, well, you gotta have it.
That's great. A lot of us.
No, come on in, get comfy.
A lot of us are trying to do it with no equipment.
Yeah. Well, if you need equipment, come here and we'll get you guys.
Cool.
We'll get you guys to use the equipment. So come on in and filter in. Everybody can fit in. We're all friends. All right. Yeah. We did a batch right before the coffee and chocolate festival, so that's we're still cleaning up from that. It, takes a while to wash and polish the molds and everything else. So from there, we're fermenting for our week. We dry for 2 to 3 weeks, and then we bring everything in here, or we store it, and then we come in here. We have a Dietrich roaster. It's a 12 kilo cacao specific roaster. It's propane fired, made by Dietrich in Idaho. It's basically the same roaster that Kauai Coffee Company has for their coffee, but the transmission is slower, so it rotates the drum slower, and it only has one burner instead of two. So in chocolate, we're roasting at a much lower temperature than coffee, so we don't need the extra burner. No sense in wasting that. This goes into an exhaust that goes outside. It is an automated system where you can power it on, get it up and running, get it to temperature. You manually initiate the ferment, or the roast, and the computer will actually vary the gas and vary the air coming in, whether it's baffling through, and basically control the temperature to within 2 or 3 degrees of where you want to be.
And what's the temperature?
Temperature, it can be anywhere for anything that you would like. So for us, we want to be between 230 and 255 degrees. So depending upon the flavor that we're after. Lower and longer seems to be a little bit better, and we get a little bit better flavor. So
How long do you give you?
right now we're somewhere in the 30 to 35 minute at 235, 240 degrees. We were at 25, 28 minutes at 255. So out of here, it automatically stops the roast, dumps it into the cooling bin. The air comes through here, cools the seed off rapidly, and then you manually extract it from here into a Cambro. We come over here to our dual-purpose machine. This is from Packent out of Italy. This is their pre-refiner, so it's a 2-stone pre-refiner, but we use it to do more than just pre-refining. So what we do here is we take the stones. There's 2 rolling stones in the top here for those that want to see, and Italian granite stones, because that's what the Italians do. They use granite, and they basically roll together and they crush the seed, and it dumps it off the conveyor belt into a container. From there, we use our own homemade winnower over here to extract the chaff off of it. And that's just a Frankenstein that I've created using whatever I could find here on the farm or Facebook Marketplace. There's a dust collection on the back side in a closet, so all the chaff, the vacuum, and all the dust is outside. So we really want to try and eliminate as much dust as we can. That machine generates a lot of it, and we thankfully have it all extracted out using the vacuum. So a couple things that change on that, if you're interested, if you want to know more about that. From there, we end up with nibs. We come back over here. While that's running, we've cleaned this machine so that we don't end up with any chaff radicals in our chocolate. And we tighten those stones up, and we run 3 passes through, tightening the stones together each pass. And that takes us from a nib down to about 200 microns. And so it comes out almost like a ribbon fudge, and we collect it. And then from there, we move over here to this machine. And this guy right here is our mill. It's a stainless steel ball mill. It's a 10-kilo ball mill. So inside there, you can take your time over. You can open the little hatch there. There's little ball bearings in there. They're about 9 millimeters in diameter, and there's 40 kilos of them. And there's a big auger in there. Everything is water jacketed, so we can raise and lower the temperature of the vat that it's in. And basically, there's an auger in there, or an arm in there that spins around. We can control the speed and the temperature of the auger, and the speed of the auger and the temperature of the container. And basically, that runs for about an hour. And that takes us from the 200 microns coming out of the pre-refiner down to about 20 to 25 microns of chocolate liqueur. So that's just the cocoa butter that naturally occurs in the seed and the chocolate powder that's the other part of the seed. From there we add our sugar and any other ingredients that we want to add. I'm kind of a purist, so I want to do just chocolate and cocoa butter and maybe add some other flavors, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. So my favorite is the 80%. So we add the sugar from there, and then we run it for another hour or so. And at about the 30 to 45 minute mark, we're using an organic cane sugar from Costco. We start to check our particle size like every 5 or 10 minutes. And so we have a micrometer, and we're going down, we're shooting for like 18 microns. So we really want that smooth palate texture. And from there, once we get to that 18 micron mark, we hit a switch, and there's an air-powered transfer switch, and everything is pumped over into this machine. This machine acts as several different things for us. It's a holding tank, so it's a 50 kilo conch, and we use it as a holding tank. So again, the container comes up to speed, or comes up to temperature, and we pipe everything over, and then we're ready for the next batch instantly on the mill. So it takes about 10 minutes to transfer everything over, and then we're right back into milling the next batch. This guy, we'll get into the farm plan in just a minute, but you'll maybe understand why we picked this equipment. From here, this just basically holds and keeps the chocolate molten at temperature, and doesn't do anything else until we've added all 5 batches from the mill. From there, we basically use a couple of different things that happen in your normal stone melangers, and that is time and temperature and mechanical process. So when you guys want to get rid of those acidic flavors, you let your melangers run a little bit longer. The damaging part there is you kind of lose some of the desired flavors as well. Well, here we can control the temperature and those mechanical processes where we just want to delete the bitterness and the astringency. And so that's what this machine does for us, is we delete out our flavors here. And then it turns back into, that usually takes 2 to 4 hours. And then it turns back into a holding tank. So we mill all day, transfer everything in here. This runs on a program overnight. And then in the next morning we come in and we come over here to our tempering machine. It's a constant tempering machine, and basically that's all it does, is it takes chocolate liqueur in, it raises and lowers the temperature until we get the desired temperature and the crystalline structure. It then dispenses it into a mold. The mold is then set on the tray, vibrates the air out. We put it on lunch trays and then into the refrigerator to cool and set. And that's pretty much it. That's the whole process in here. The reason why we picked this equipment is in order to process, like so Friday's harvest was 170 trees out there only of the 1,025. And we ended up with 200, we ended up with one of those containers full. And that's enough for a 30 kilo batch in here. So combined with Ben and Robin and any other farms that would like, we can, with Ben and Robin contributing, we were right at 485 pounds of wet seed. So that 485 pounds of wet seed gives us one full 50, more than one 50 kilo batch in here. So that's about 800 bars. So
how long does that take?
a week.
A week, the whole process?
The whole process, well, in here takes a week, and that's why we picked this size equipment. So we want to spend most of our time out there farming, where the farm needs our attention, and then when we harvest, we want to be able to ferment in 1 week, dry in 2 to 3 weeks, come in here for a week, and process everything, and get it ready to be sold.
Do you add cacao butter to
So
that?
we started with a pure, just cacao nibs and sugar. And what we learned was in the cleaning process, we use a vegetable oil and sugar. And that's how you clean the machines before starting them up. There was enough residual there that made that 2-ingredient chocolate capable. In order for us to do a 2-ingredient chocolate now, we have to add just 1% cocoa butter. So we use an organic cocoa butter and we melt that and add that in. So the way the mill works is there's a pump on the bottom, and it draws the fluid off the bottom and it pumps it up to the top. As that auger's spinning and the balls are all getting pounding together and knocking all the particle size down, it has to circulate. Without adding that 1%, it won't circulate. It takes like 3 or 4 hours instead of the scheduled 2. So it takes a really long time to get it to particle size.
So when you use neighbors' cacao, do they contribute economically to the whole process?
Well, however they'd like. Whether they want chocolate or whether they want to be paid for it.
No, I mean, like, do they help your costs?
No, this was all private funded by me.
So
when I'm all in, when we say last resort, this is it.
So you're gifting this service to people, so people are just kind of getting into it.
Yeah, if somebody wants something from us, yeah, here, we got it. If you want to come to us and produce, you know, large quantities of chocolate, then we can talk about what it costs to do that. But, yeah.
Okay, that's pretty generous.
We're planning on it, yes. Yep, the vanilla we've already experimented with. We'll try some of that. But the mac nuts are definitely something we're going to do. And so let's see. We're in Illinois or Indiana. And they're doing all of our testing for us. So we sent them off. We sent them 8 different harvests, so a good sampling around the field and the orchards. They're going to tell us our nutritional values, our heavy metal contents, our caffeine, theobromine, theophylline, and something else. What was the other part of that? There was one other thing that they were going to test.
Heavy metals, theobromine,
nutritionals, and cocoa butter content.
Yeah.
So we'll have all that data, and you know we're pretty transparent people. That'll be on the website for everybody to see. You know, we really want to showcase that it can be done correctly. We don't. If a farm wants to contribute, 2 things we ask: that there's no rodenticides within the orchards, and that the pods don't hit the ground. And those are the 2 things that we want to really drive home to people. You know, if you harvest and it hits the ground, it's not the end of the world. You know, you go to your food worker safety stuff, you just have to make sure that the ground isn't contaminated, but it's a lot easier if you just eliminate that possibility. And so that's our goal. Yes, our stuff hits the ground, and then we just take it and we add that seed after we're done draining off all of the juice. And as far as I know, I think we're the only farm that's doing that. So basically, we're just taking that extra step to make sure that there's no contaminants, or as few contaminants as possible in that value-added product. So,
Are there specific things about contamination you're?
Well, you know, where does most of your, if you're picking lettuce in a large field, where does most of your contamination come from? It comes from the farm workers who are using the bathroom in the fields, you know, if they're that big of a field, or it comes from an animal that's doing the same thing. So we know we have pigs, we know we have other rodents and stuff that are around.
What about snails?
Not worried about snails. Not worried about snails. It's not, you have to eat the snail. The eggs, I don't think make it through our digestive tract. So you actually have to eat a snail, and that's where people are getting the rat lungworm disease.
From the slime.
I think that's been disproven. From the research I've done, it's not the slime; it is the actual animal itself. But you can feel free to double check. But that was the latest that I had done.
Just a tiny.
You're eating, yeah. Basically, the people who are getting it is they're either eating uncooked, or they're eating like a small slug, and they're just not seeing it. And so.
No, I would say they can be really tiny.
Yeah, no, they're small. Yeah, it's gonna just look like a small speck on your greens, but that was the latest that I got. But feel free to go behind me and check.
How often do you need to clean your ball bearings?
Great. We don't. Okay, so the reason why we don't is from the manufacturer it says, as long as you're not introducing a milk powder or a fruit powder, you're good to have it just closed up in between runs. If you were to introduce a milk powder and do a milk chocolate, or a fruit powder and add in some fruit, you would have to, or if you use dates to sweeten your chocolate, you would have to go ahead and clean the machine. And basically what that is vegetable oil and sugar. And so you heat everything up, you add enough vegetable oil in, and you just keep cycling that through until you end up pushing all of that chocolate out.
What about vanilla?
I didn't understand when you were saying that you're cleaning it with vegetable oil. Does it mean that there is also vegetable oil in your chocolate?
Yes, so that's why we're not cleaning. Because I don't want vegetable oil. But when you get the machines and you set it up, the first batch that we did was an 80%. We wanted to go really difficult. First thing we wanted to do was a 2 ingredient. Well, there is some residual vegetable oil in the machine when we do that. And so what we found was, yeah, there was a difference in the tempering process. There was a little bit of difference in flavor. So now that that's all out of the system, we're just adding that 1% of cocoa butter in there. And that is just to bring it into cycling through the machine.
Is this from a lubrication kind of thing?
The cocoa butter? Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
I'm not sure if you addressed the other means to limiting contamination in the system. The chocolate making equipment, like the little magnets.
Oh yeah. So what are the things? What are the other contaminants? Obviously, everything in here is steel, so you can end up with pieces of metal in your chocolate. So what they've done is these are really large magnets, and the chocolate is pumped through these, and they pick up any debris that's in there. And so that's one way that both the mill and the conch have it. And then the other way is we have a basket. And this basket is designed to pick up any of the larger radicals that are in there. It's not large enough to catch all of like your chaff particles, which again goes back to your process of cleaning this in between your cracking and your pre-refining. But that's the other process in here. Why did we pick Packant? I met the owner at Chocolate Northwest, and they were really neat to talk to. They were really forthcoming with information, and they had the size. When you talk about submitting for your farm plan, the design was to shorten all of this work inside here and not make it a full-time job in here to produce, but rather to be out there and doing the work on the farm. So 1 week in here, 3 weeks out there is the goal. Want to eat? Yep, time to eat. Let's go. Anybody have any questions? Great. We'll eat, and then you guys are welcome to try some chocolate.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And this is
no worries.
Finished product.
Letting that happen.
Other side of it, which is the big item. Yeah, and that's not even part of the equation. Yeah, I don't know how well tracked stuff is. Because when I was working for Dole, and I worked for their cacao plantation, and they worked with the same dairy. And what they did was they had their child dealer, their music child, and they did a
Yes, I have a very neat retirement. So,